This is my attempt to beat Super Mario RPG with only Mario and at the lowest level possible. Mario is the only character who can attack and heal, and all other characters may only use the defend command and must be nude. You can find the full set of rules in the Discridly-Do, so let's jump right in. At the game's outset, a giant flying turtle plucks Peach off the vine, so it's up to Mario to get her back. We fight a couple of baby turtles as a warm-up before we find Papa Shelly. And of course, this battle is the same as in a regular game. So we stomp the chomp, jump on this chump, and get chucked by this schmuck all the way back to Mario House. And before Mario gets smashed, I save Toad and get a free honey syrup. In addition, I avoid this Goomba and jump left from this spinny daisy to grab a flower out of this chest. Then I do the same trick to get up to a Toad on the right, and that nets me a flower tab. Now I have 12 flowers, which will give me quite an advantage against the next boss, the Hammer Bros. At this point, Mario is at level 1, so timed guards are crucial to his survival. We start with a jump attack, and I immediately get 2 perfect blocks, so I jump attack bro number 2. The subsequent hammer time attack misses, and I perfect block the next attack. That means I'm at full HP, and one more punch attack takes out bro number 1. Bro number 2 wastes his next turn powering up, but it's too late for him, and another jump attack puts him out of his misery and nets us Mario's first weapon, the hammer. So we head on to the Mushroom Kingdom, talk to a mushroom, and grab this hidden frog coin. As an aside, I think that if you don't grab this frog coin on the first try, you lose, the run's over, and you gotta reset. Your run just isn't valid. Sorry about it. Anyway, we chat with an old shroom daddy, a young tadpole, and then head to Bandit's Way to fight Croco. The jump attack is the mainstay of our offense. This game has a mechanic where the jump attack powers up permanently each time you use it, and this boost is incredibly powerful. It essentially puts a flat damage boost on every single jump, and that boost is not affected by the enemy's defense. It takes 5 jumps to push Croco to use his weird mushroom, and Mallow then goes down. But Croco's attacks are extremely blockable, and 3 jumps are enough to take him down, which means we head back to the Mushroom Kingdom. I fight this Shymore here, and unfortunately I have my first fail of the run. I get distracted and have Mallow attack with a Thunderbolt, which means it's time to bring back the old death counter because when Mallow attacks, I have to reset. So I refight him, and I give this dude back his wallet in exchange for a flower tab. I also grab some honey syrups from the shop, another flower tab from the bouncy house, which brings me to level 3, loot the Toad Vault, and save Granny and the Mushettes. We now have 22 flower points and are ready to fight Clay Morton. Normally, I'd use Mallow's Thunderbolt to take out all of his guards, but that's not an option. Fortunately, my jump attack is extremely powerful because it's basically the only attack I've been using, but not powerful enough because after 3 jumps, Clay Morton retreats into the rafters, and to get him back, I've got to destroy his underlings. The big challenge is actually survival since their attacks are quite powerful, and they take me down to 1 HP. But the joy of not having much maximum HP is it only takes 1 mushroom to bring me back to full. And eventually, I take out the bodyguards and bring Clay Morton back. 2 flame walls bring me down to critical HP, but I gamble he won't use it a 3rd time and I jump. My gamble pays off and he hits me with a flame attack, which I block, and then he summons more goons, which means he heads back into the rafters. And I once again hit 1 HP from a flame attack, but I mushroom again and finish off the final bodyguard with a jump. And Clay Morton falls to 1 more jump attack as well, which means we get our first star. So we grab a disgusting cricket pie from the shop and head into the Kiro sewers. There, I grab a true form pin from a treasure chest monster and I equip it. Then I head on to fight esteemed yellow doggo Belome. The strategy for this fight is quite similar to the last one. Basically, jump all over him. The one complication though is yellow doggo's sleep saw spell. Now Mario is vulnerable to sleep attacks, but Belome uses it to hit Mallow initially, meaning Mario's free for hops. It also tries to turn Mario into a scarecrow, but he's immune because of my accessory. Eventually, Belome eats Mallow, leaving Mario on the field alone. But by that time, it just takes 1 more jump to defeat him. So we head down the waterfall, chinwag with the Frog Sage, and head on to Rosetown. And there we get ball blasted by some dead wood. And in our quest to find more and livelier wood, we head into the forest maze to fight Bowyer. On the way though, I get trapped in a fight with a bee and this weird guy that uses shells as umbrellas, and I get taken out with a flame wall. So 2 deaths so far. 1 from me being stupid, and the other one from me being stupid. Which is kind of embarrassing, honestly. But I pull myself up by my overall straps and I stick to the plan. Kill this bow. I equip the wake up pin before this fight since Bowyer can put characters to sleep, and that would be bad. Mario's jump attacks have been powered up significantly in previous boss fights, so it's now doing extremely respectable damage. In the first part of the fight, Bowyer uses mainly single target attacks. Also, fortunately, Bowyer's single target attack attacks are all blockable, so if I play well, I won't take any damage, which is exactly how the first part of the battle goes. And that's fortunate because Bowyer blocks off the item command. That means I have no way to heal. Eventually though, he blocks off the special command and wastes a turn trying to put Mario to sleep even though I'm immune. I use a honey syrup to replenish my FP and go to town with more jumps, and it takes one more hippity hop to finish off the battle, but not before the game forces me to use a triple move. Bowyer gives us our second star and we head on to Mushroom Kingdom's Mexican culinary mecca, Moleville. I sell a Coca-Cola to get some mid-mushrooms and maple syrups, watch Bowser recollect his cronies after a terrible failure at reclaiming his castle, and then I concuss myself by jumping off of a giant spring. Before I head into the next battle with Croco though, there's one more thing that I need to do. I defeat his cronies, each of whom yields a flower tab. But then it's time to make this cave lizard into soup. I start with a couple jump attacks and then decide why not try fire, and holy guacamole. The boost to my jump attack caused by repetitive use is just enormous. Croco is weak against fire, but it still does paltry damage compared to Mario's jump attack. Croco's bombs this time are actually quite strong and take away almost half my health when not blocked. And after 5 or 6 jumps, Croco steals my items, meaning I'd better get all of my blocks. I block 2 monster tosses and then a tackle attack, but then I miss the perfect block on his next monster toss and holy guacamole again! It takes away more than half of my health, meaning an unblocked one would kill me in one hit. Fortunately though, I block the rest of Croco's attacks and the resultant stew is one of the finest I've ever tasted. Bruh. But now we have to head on to Punchinello. Before we do though, I head back to the item shop to grab Mario a pair of work pants, and these are the only pants he'll be wearing in this entire run. These increase Mario's speed and attack at the cost of a little bit of his defense. But given how underleveled I am, missing a perfect block will result in my death anyway. So my priority is to just kill the enemies quickly so I don't have as many blocks I can mess up. I also equip Mario's new Punch Glove weapon as well as the Fearless Pin. Fear will double the damage I take and halve the damage I deal, which would make even more attacks a one-hit kill. In terms of offense, Punchinello is immune to jump damage, so things go a bit slower. I hit the blocks in the first 4 bombs perfectly, but in the second round I get hit by a sandstorm and only half block one of Punchinello's attacks. A mushroom though takes care of the missing health, and a Mario Punch brings us into phase 2. In this phase, I only half block 2 Punchinello strikes, but I full block all of the bombs. Now, a comment that I got in previous videos mentioned that I shouldn't have characters block. This increases their tankiness as meat shields and makes it so that Mario is effectively not fighting alone. I disagree with that. These guys are just innocent bystanders who happen to get hit by a few attacks. And if you were at a Waffle House and a chair got thrown at you, I bet you would put your hand up to try to block it, even if that chair wasn't meant for you. But for real, later, most attacks in this game will kill characters in 1 to 2 hits. They're not wearing armor, so their defenses are paltry. Anyway, I heal myself and continue on. I miss a couple of blocks and Mallow dies, and Punchinello runs out of FP, meaning this battle has now gotten a bit easier. And one more punch brings us into phase 3, which I'm kind of worried about. In this phase, missing blocks from the big bombs will be deadly, and I only half block on Punchinello, and then I miss my first bomb block, which brings me down to just 1 HP. And in the ensuing reprieve, I heal, and then Gino goes down. And that means I have no choice but to block every bomb attack that comes my way. I take a half hit from Punchinello, perfect block a bomb, and then another one misses. One more strike shuts down the bomb.com, and we get star number 3. So we head on to Booster Tower. After recruiting a useless turtle, grabbing Mario's newest weapon, the Masher, and getting Booster a blow-up doll of ourselves, we fight the first 2 truly challenging enemies of this run, Knife Guy and Great Guy. And they're challenging because this is the first duo we've seen with unblockable attacks that can kill Mario in 1 turn. They start out by immediately taking down Mallow, and I try for a super jump. I hit 36, which does respectable damage, but my next only gets 17 hits. I'm still working on getting the super jumps right, don't hate. And unfortunately after this, they stack, meaning their attacks are about to get a whole lot more powerful. Great Guy uses Meteor Blast, which hits for 33 damage and is unblockable, and Knife Guy attacks with Blizzard, which does 20 damage and is also unblockable. So the math is not adding up to survival, and I die. And I tried this battle a few more times. On my first 3 tries, I had the Wake Up pin equipped to protect against Great Guy's sleep attacks, but I still went down. And then I tried the Booster Charm, which has all elemental damage. This actually worked pretty well. Because of the reduced elemental damage, I was able to run Great Guy out of FP and then take out Knife Guy with a jump attack. Unfortunately, Great Guy can still use his powerful Echo Finder attack, which doesn't require FP, and for me has one of the most difficult block animations in the game. But even worse, his sleep attacks also don't require any flower points, so Mario snoozes and then gets knocked out. And I try this a few more times before I realize, if Great Guy and Knife Guy are stacked and Great Guy runs out of FP, he can't do anything. It's only when he unstacks that he attacks and tries to put Mario to sleep. So I re-equip the booster charm and I try again. And this time I focus all of my attacks on Great Guy. He has 900 HP, and by the time he and Knife Guy stack, I've done about 500 damage to him. I get another 90 in when he misses a Meteor Blast, and I eventually stall him out of FP. Once that happens, I'm able to take him out with just 2 more attacks. And with only Knife Guy left, I manage to hit a 63 super jump combo and he goes down, finally ending this exacting exam and propelling us to Booster Hill. There, we touch Booster's Peach 8 times, getting us 8 flowers, because that's totally how that works. And then we bring those flowers to Marrymore, because it's now time to fight the cake. And the cake represents one of the necessary exceptions to Mario only that we must make in this challenge. Specifically, he can't beat the second phase alone because all 3 characters need to attack it to put out the candles. However, the first and third phases will belong entirely to Mario. So we get a kiss from Peach and then get ready for pain. The first phase of this fight is a nothing burger. Basically, I have to block the attacks from the chefs and do a set amount of damage to the cake. But once that's done, the real challenge starts. We start by having Bowser attack, and then the cake uses 2 single target attacks, only one of which I managed to block. And then it relights the candle Bowser snuffed. Mario and Geno attack, and we have 2 candles down. The cake then uses 2 more single target attacks, and we have a net snuffing of 2 more candles in the next round. So Bowser attacks, and then the cake uses another single target attack, which I block and puts Bowser to sleep. That means 2 more attacks is enough to take the second phase out. This RNG has been absolutely shocking. So now all that's left is to beat the third phase. The cake uses Sandstorm, inflicting the fear status, and then I miss the guard on a basic physical attack and I die. And this was a devastating loss. I'd gotten through the hardest part of the battle and then died in the part that was supposed to be easy, which means it's time to enter a whole new world of suffering. Because on my next attempt, the cake pain spouts and diamond saws Mario in the same turn, taking them out almost immediately. Next time, Sandstorm and Diamond Saw, and then it happens again. And then I get physically obliterated. The next time, though, goes really well. Never mind, Blizzard. And after banging my head against the wall for about 1 hour, I finally get some good initial RNG. I get 3 candles out right away, and the cake starts with 2 physical attacks. I perfect block them, and then I take out 2 more and I heal. 1 relights, and I just have to hope that it doesn't kill any characters, which it doesn't. So Plumber, Turtle, and Wood each attack 1 more time, and phase 2 is once again completed. And this time, I have the Fearless Ring equipped on Mario. So even though Sandstorm does a reasonable amount of damage, his status is now normal, and there's no danger of death unless I played terribly. So I perfect hit my guards with Mario, and 1 final jump takes out the cake phase 3. And then Booster eats the cake anyway, which makes me wonder why we had to do this fight in the first place. Couldn't he have just eaten it? But anyway, with the wedding canceled, it's time to search for more stars. So we head to Star Hill to grab our very uneventful 4th star, and then it's on to Seaside Town. There, we grab the Sia item, which will allow us to run from any battle. And these shrooms that are high on shrooms have ice bombs, so we buy a few and head to the sea. There, we find the maritime version of a midlife crisis, and by the way, don't buy a boat. And then we challenge the giant squid that sank it. We start by fighting its Tantacles, and the big challenge here is that they can cause the fear status even to characters who are immune to fear. And the first set, very predictably, inflicts the fear status on Mario, and the second set inflicts it again right before we head on to fight the main body. I take out the right Tantacles with a couple of fireballs, and after playing the waiting game and healing off all of the squid's damage, I take Tantacles number 2 out with a hammer strike. Unfortunately, I then miss a block on one of the squid's attacks, and I die. The next try starts similarly, but this time Mario dies to an ink blast that does 70 damage, again completely one-shotting him. On try number 3, I decide to go all offense and equip the work pants, thinking that if I get my shit together and block attacks, at least I'll have fewer attacks to block. I make it through the trios of Tantacles without issues, but right before I kill the final one, it makes me afraid. But fortunately, I've learned the squid's attack pattern now, and I get a bunch of great blocks in a row and then get destroyed by another ink blast. Help! For the fourth attempt, I try a different tactic. I head back to Seaside Town and I buy 2 fire bombs. So we head back to Squidward, fight through his Tantacles, and I stall out my fear status before I hit the main body. I start with a firebomb, which kills the right Tantacles, and then the left one seems to know what's up and inflicts the fear status on Mario. But one more hammer strike is enough to take it out of commission. I defend until my fear status wears off, and then use my second firebomb. And then 1 fireball and 3 jumps is enough to bring this sucker to his knees. I then take a moment to bust this box, and of course, I die. Not to the box, but to its Goomba leftovers. But the second time, I get it right and get the safety badge. And this item, while very useful in a normal run because it protects against all statuses, is useless in this one, because the next item we'll grab is the safety ring. While it's been nerfed slightly from the SNES version, it still is the most useful item in a solo run. It prevents all statuses, protects against instant death attacks, and markedly decreases the damage dealt by elemental attacks. It used to negate elemental damage completely, but maybe that's this game's version of a compromise. They made the overall game easier, so they nerfed this one accessory. I don't think it really helped, but whatever. Bless your heart, Nintendo. And speaking of easy battles, it's time to jump the shark, because Johnny and his crew only use physical attacks, meaning that all I need to do is block appropriately and he'll go down. Which I do. And he does. So we get our 5th star, but a bunch of shrooms on shrooms steal it from me. And since I know we're entering a bit of a rough patch, I head to Tadpole Pond to buy some bracers. These incredible items will double Mario's defense and make him take half damage in battle, which means I'm ready to fight Spiritovich. I start by using my newly acquired bracer, and for the rest of the game, assume I'm using a bracer in every single boss battle. Spiritovich opens with a blistering water blast, and I heal and continue to jump on him. He then divides in twain, but fortunately when he divides, he only performs single target and therefore blockable spear strikes. And while they do a healthy amount of damage when missed, I'd pretty much have to miss both completely to be truly threatened. I think many people aren't sure which clone to attack, but there's actually a cool trick here. Basically, whichever clone Mario targets right after you hit the button to attack is the real one. And if you want to finish this battle quickly, just attack the real one. Don't bother with the clone. On reuniting, Spiritovich's water blast misses, I jump on him, and then I full block the following Will-O-Wisp and Flamestone attacks. It's then time for him to divide again, but by this point I've learned his block timing and none of those physical attacks hit. Oh, Kitty, you want to help with the video? His reuniting phase goes off without a hitch, and then he splits again, and I have similar block success. But when his 2 halves reunite, he's out of FP. So with 2 more jump attacks, I take him out and reclaim my 5th star. Ooh. Our next destination is Land's End, and there our main challenge is a bunch of hungry ants. Somehow I managed to skip the first set of ants, and I have no idea how to make that consistent, so if you know how, please let me know in the comments. I'm desperate to find out how to do that. I made a video where I only did mandatory battles in this game, and I'll put a link to that in the describbly-do, but I could not figure out how to skip these ants. Anyway, the second set gets stomped with no issue. The third trio has a special enemy in it though. Special enemies are a new feature, and they have increased health and strength, and they are fearsome opponents. So I break the glass and I use an ice bomb to take out its cronies, and then of course I get Carney kissed to death. And that is not the type of kiss that I wanted. But fortunately, autosave makes my day a lot better, and the second time I fight this group, I revert to standard tactics to take them out. That means that it's time to get a fortune slip and fight Belome 2, whom I'll call Miss Bellum. And Miss Bellum can summon clones of my characters to do her bidding. My main tactic hasn't really changed. I use jump to damage her, and then she summons her first clone, a Mario clone. Not my favorite since they're immune to fire and jump damage. But unlike Peach clones, at least they can't heal Miss Bellum. But that means I have no way of taking him out expediently, so I focus my energy on jumping on Miss Bellum and blocking attacks. And for Miss Bellum's second clone, he chooses another Mario clone. Well, at least the strategy is clear. And while I do have a couple of close calls I have to heal off, Mario's damage output is pretty great, and Miss Bellum is ultimately vanquished. And now, in Monster Town, I have one important task to accomplish before we can move on. I need to get the Ghost Medal. So I sleep in the inn, hear what the ghosts have to say, and then head out to find their flags. One in Rose Town, one in Yoster Isle, and the final one in Mario House. And then I head back and am adorned with this wonderful item. Don't forget that I got this, because it will be important later. And now that that's done, I re-equip my safety ring and head to Bean Valley to fight Smilax. The first 3 phases are nothing burgers, so we're gonna skip that.
Hold it!
Actually, no we're not, because these guys do a ton of damage because Mario's only at level 10. And I did not use a bracer at the beginning of this battle. I died. And the second time I go commando again, no bracer. But this time I get my shit together and I get through the third phase. But then the big guy comes out, and immediately Smilax's Petal Dance does 67 damage, suggesting that this battle is not going to go well. But I heal, get hit by 2 flames from the side plants, and then use an ice bomb to dispatch them. And only the big guy is left. And he immediately chomps me to death. I totally could have avoided that had I just blocked, but it's clear that I require protection. And yet I try again without it. Why am I like this? Why do I do this to myself? It once again opens up with a devastating Petal Blast, so I heal, get chomped, and it uses Petal Blast again, and I die. But this time, I learned my lesson. I grab another bracer from Tadpole Pond, and I head back in. The opener is once again Petal Dance, but I easily survive it and heal. I'm slightly low on health, but I decide the best defense is a good offense and use an ice bomb to take out the cronies. And then things start going my way. Smilax uses Flame twice, which with the safety ring does next to nothing, so I get a couple jump attacks in. And then it wastes another turn turning Bowser into a Scarecrow, even though he's already a Scarecrow. Petal Blast now only does 1/3 of my health, and Smilax wastes the next turn with another status move. And then he does it again. He uses a Petal Dance, so I have no choice but to heal, but then it wastes its time with a Flame Wall attack, and the next jump attack takes it out. Winner, winner, piranha dinner. So I grab the seed, head up the beanstalk, and enter my golden era. We avoid the Dodo fight, get a key from a Sky Tadpole, and next fight Birdo, who prefers to go by Kathy. And if you want to know why, feel free to take a look at this video by Moon Channel that I will link in the description-do. It's worth watching the entire thing. An absolutely amazing video. Anyway, for this battle, since Kathy doesn't use any status moves, all I need to worry about is decreasing damage, so the Ghost Medal becomes the best option. See? I told you it would be important. This amazing accessory decreases all numerical damage by half. Basically, it has the same effect as a bracer. I hit her 3 times after she emerges from her shell, and that brings us into her second phase. In this part, I need to block her single eggs, which will bounce off of me and return to her side. When damaged, those eggs will deal 80 points of damage to Kathy. Interestingly though, my jump attack does more than that given all the boosts it's received. So I wait until there are 2 or more eggs, and then I aim for a perfect attack action command, which will deal splash damage and make the eggs explode. I do that 3 times, healing in between since some of these action commands escape me. And I learned something new. Kathy's eggs can miss her when they explode. But after that, 1 more jump cracks Kathy and she retreats back into her pink and white prison. And our next challenge is none other than the illustrious Valentina and her bird-brained crony Dodo. Of course, on the way, I lose focus and have Geno attack an enemy. And that felt bad. But I recover and head on to the main event. I place Bowser in the middle slot so he'll be removed by Dodo, and I have him use a firebomb. He gets a freebie, so the second one ends the fight quickly. And then it's back to the bird lady. I decided to try this fight without a bracer again because why not? She opens with 2 nasty physical attacks and I miss the blocks for both. However, her subsequent blizzard isn't too bad. She then hits with a light bubble attack, which is incredibly strong, and I'm once again on the defensive. I heal and she gets me with a physical attack, but then her light bubble destroys my hope and I die. And while that was a fun experiment, we're getting serious now. This time I don't get a freebie firebomb on Dodo, but I do have an extra rock candy I throw out and we move on to phase 2. I use my bracer this time, which will make things a lot easier. With it, Valentina's attacks are hitting for a lot less. The light bubble attack's still smarts, but at half damage, it's not a big deal. And her elemental attacks are frankly pitiful now, and for some reason, that's most of what she uses. Eventually though, Dodo returns with Bowser and we need to end things. The 2 main dangers in this battle are Dodo's multi-strike, which does 49 damage when missed, and Diamond Saw, which would do 46. And I know this because those are the attacks that I miss. And granted, throughout the rest of the battle, I miss a bunch of action commands and use all of my healing items, but eventually she gets peckered out and flies away. So it's time to head on to the volcano where our next foe is the Derp Dragon. And this is where things get nasty. The dragon gets several attacks in before I can brace up, and fortunately misses what would have been a fatal water blast. But I then heal and get my bracer up and breathe a sigh of relief. And now the big problem with this boss arises: his balls. However, each only has 1 HP, so any attack can destroy them. So I use a physical attack hoping for splash damage, and I miss. And Flame Wall does an incredible 38 damage, so I gotta hit this or I lose. And I do. And then a water blast boils Mario alive, and I die. On my second attempt, I survive the first 2 sets of balls, and he immediately summons a third set, and I immediately miss a physical attack, meaning the dragon empties his balls into Mario's face. I've literally never had this many balls in my face before. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Attempt number 3 is a complete disaster even without balls. I make a poor choice to jump when I only have 37 HP when I should have healed, and I'm immediately water blasted into oblivion. I die a couple more times when I realize I've been streaming for over 7 hours and it's time for bed. But next stream, I'm back with a new resolve and a new kitten. I start my next attempt as usual with a bracer, and the initial try starts off pretty auspiciously. The first attack does start with some balls, but they get splash damaged and defeated. And then, of course, with the next set of balls, my attack misses, meaning I take a set of balls to the face again. But fortunately, the dragon's next water blast misses, which is amazing. But the next one doesn't, and I die again. This is feeling really bad. The next attempt starts off poorly. I take some balls to the face pretty quickly, but then the dragon uses Flame Wall, arguably the best attack it can for me given that I'm equipped with the safety ring. But it gives me a reprieve from balls on the next turn so I can heal, and then it misses a Flame Wall. I then perfect block a physical attack and finish off phase 1 with a jump. Looking good, Mario. But then Derpy Dragon becomes the Derpy Bone Dragon, and this Derpy Bone Dragon is hard. I get struck by a physical attack, and then his boulder misses, which is amazing. But even though the Dirt Bone has strong attacks, it can only do 1 per turn. Now, if I miss a blast block, I'll probably die, but otherwise I may just have the stamina to bone this bone. He does, though, get 2 attacks in 1 turn eventually, which is terrifying, but I get the half block on both his physical attack as well as a nasty bone blast and survive with 10 HP, and his next blast misses. And then his next storm misses. I'm a lucky son of a bitch. And then he goes down. And that brings us to the scariest fight of this run, the Axum Rangers. The Pink Ranger heals and uses Petal Storm, the Green Ranger does magic, the Black, Red, and Yellow Rangers do physical damage, all of which is blockable, and unlike the original, there's a 6th Hidden Ranger, the Subscribe Ranger. The Rangers get an attack in before I can, which means no bracer protection, and I immediately miss a block on Red's attack. And rather than heal, I get my bracer up with a hope I can block the next set, and I don't, so I die. On the second try, the Rangers attack Geno and Bowser instead of me, which is nice because now I have full HP to brace up with. I block 2 of the next 3 attacks and use an Ice Bomb, but then I immediately get taken out by Black. Okay, try number 3. I go with the Defense Scarf this time. The first 3 physical attacks don't even hit Mario. Static E does though, and I throw my first Ice Bomb. And then I get hit by 3 physical attacks and I die. That plan was bad. Back to the safety ring. Mario gets hit once to start and braces up, and I play aggressive and go directly for the Ice Bomb. Pink sadly heals Red, and a second Ice Bomb takes down Green. I use a third Ice Bomb, which takes down no one, and the next few attacks force me to heal. No, actually I just die. Everything's fine. Try number 5 has a great start, and I use my Ice Bomb. I'm hit hard by attacks in between, and I'm forced to heal in the next turn. Pink heals Green, and I use my second Ice Bomb. I block almost all attacks the next round and use Ice Bomb number 3, taking out Green and Red. Then I get smacked down, and Pink's Petal Blast brings me down to just 1 HP. I heal, and then I set my sights on Pink to prevent further healing. And after a few more attacks, she too goes down. Just Yellow and Black remain. But Yellow is next to fall to a jump attack, and there's only the Black Ranger. And he finally goes down to another jump attack, which means it's time to fight the ship. And I have no idea how much the Breaker Beam is going to do, but I am sure I'll survive it. And yet I don't. Yeah, 72 HP is the threshold. But on try number 6, I instead take out Pink last because there's not much she can do to me. I end the round with 98 HP, far above the 72 HP threshold of what the Breaker Beam can do. I alternate between jumping and healing at this point, and after the 6th Breaker Beam, the ship runs out of FP, and 3 more jumps ends this miserable saga, and we get star number 6. And that means that all that's left is Smithy's lair. I also head to Tadpole Pond to stock up on about 1 million bracers and energizers, and we ride the bus to Booster's castle. By the way, don't buy a castle. Cleaning costs are in the millions. We take a few quizzes, do a bunch of platforming, and finally reach Wisekoopa. Wisekoopa does some of his own fighting, but he can also summon monsters to do his fighting for him. So after a few hits, he summons a large bomb, and fortunately, the bomb is weak to jump attacks. That means it's pretty easy for Mario to take it out before it blows up and hits Wisekoopa again. Its second summon is again a bomb, which goes down to a jump attack, and this time Wisekoopa basically wastes a turn by casting Flame Wall, and we get some more hits in. Third up is okay guys, this fight was actually easy, and I'm tired of talking about it. He dies. And next up is Boomer, who is also easy. Mario's jump attacks make quick work of him, but then we head into our next big challenge, Exor. Now keep in mind that I'm hugely underleveled, level 12 with 98 HP, and that should give you an idea of the level of pain that I'm about to experience. Fortunately, Mario acts before Exor, so I'm able to get a bracer up before he starts walloping me. And since the first set of attacks don't hit Mario, I go ahead with an Energizer as well to increase my offense. One jump attack is able to kill the right eye, and from there I jump on Exor's top portion, doing a ton of damage. Things are looking optimistic, and then the mouth Kearney kisses me to death. Okay, so attempt number 2. I kill the right eye and then use a rock candy. This also takes out the left eye, it does 300 damage to Exor, and I get a freebie. I use my next turn to heal and then rock candy again right after. The 2 eyes come back to life, meaning I can no longer damage the head, and I take a turn to heal. I kill the right eye again, and the other sword parts do no damage due to a lucky miss on the water blast. Another rock candy takes out the left eye and the mouth, meaning Exor is wide open with neither offense nor defense. A 4th rock candy takes down another 300 HP. At this point though, all 3 parts wake up at once and they blast me into oblivion. I try a few more times, and let's just skip to number 7. Bracer, Energizer, jump the right, heal. Heal again because I just can't get a freaking break, and finally rock candy to take out the left. Then jump again to take out the right. And basically rinse and repeat until I reach a point where all 3 components are gone, and then I die. Honestly, I just want to give up at this point.
Attempt number 8.
Goes badly.
Attempt number 9.
Goes worse. Number 10 is going pretty well. We get down to the point where 1 more rock candy is required and the eyes come back to life. I jump the right and I use 1 more rock candy, and finally Exor is finished, and I'm having some second thoughts about how I spend my time. Did somebody say time? It's clock time. I brace and energize and start in on the right bell. The clock face is the real damaging threat though, because while the bells can do some damage, the damage they can do is all single target, and the status effects they do are all wasted turns. So I block a bunch of physical attacks as well as a dark star and take out the right bell, and the left bell is soon to follow. And once they're gone, we clean this clock's clock. And after a Spirit of Victory fight, which is pitiful, it's time for a showdown with Cloaker and Domino. Cloaker uses physical attacks and Domino uses magical attacks. And because of the safety ring, I'm setting my sights on Cloaker first. We now have a little bit more HP from a level up, so fortunately their attacks aren't one-shotting me. It does help though that the duo focuses its attacks on Bowser and Geno. And because of Domino's low magic defense, it's not too long before my jump attacks take him out, which brings us to the Cloaked Snake. These two have powerful magical attacks, but my Bracer and Energize fuck nuggets. Let's try again. I get to the Cloaker Snake with little trouble, and I immediately get pummeled by a light bubble and water blast that I can't block. Not a great start. And even worse, now that Geno is dead, his speed boost immediately goes away, and the snake is now faster, meaning it gets a 3rd turn. It uses light bubble, and this attack will definitely kill, but it misses. So I heal, and we are back in business. A Solidify does minimal damage, and I perfect block a blast attack, and I finally can attack. And for some reason, after this, it stops using its most powerful attacks. It's almost as if it's given up because I'm such a Giga Chad gamer.
Nope.
And despite my delusion, I win the battle. So I move on to the clerk, manager, and director, who despite being bosses are complete pushovers. And before the next boss, there's something that I need to do. I need to replenish my stock of bracers, and I need sleepy bombs. So I head to Land's End, jump on some flying turtles, and get a bajillion frog coins. Then I head back to Tadpole Pond where I collect my bounty. And then it's on to the gun yoke. And because I got all those sleepy bombs, there's literally no way I can die in this battle, and no, that is not foreshadowing. How dare you? Basically, I keep the gun yoke and the factory chief asleep for the entire battle, so they don't even get to attack once. Mario reaches level 14, which I hope will be his last level gain, and we have just one more battle, Smithy. And since you've made it this far, consider joining my Discord, where we talk about RPGs, the agony of defeat, and of course, cats. Did I mention I have a new kitten? So on to Mr. Smith we go. I brace to start and Smithy opens with a sledge. And rather than heal, I get my Energizer up, which was a mistake because Smithy now casts Meteor Blast and immediately summons his crony who casts Sword Rain. And I die. And this is the first time in any challenge run that I've died on Smithy's first phase, which does not bode well. My second try goes equally poorly, and by the third I'm able to understand the problem. If Smithy's cronies both use Sword Rain, which is unblockable, and Smithy uses any spell I can't block, it's an immediate death. So I did a little bit of grinding off stream on some Bowyer clones, gaining both one more level and a bunch more ice bombs in the process. I was ready. And honestly, I still have a problem. 2 Sword Rains followed by a Meteor Swarm will still kill me, so I do what any GigaChad gamer would do. I pray to our Lord and Savior, RN Jesus, and somehow it works, and one final jump brings Smithy into phase 2. We start in the tank form, of course, and this is one of Smithy's least threatening forms. All of its attacks are blockable, and its Magnum is a wasted turn because of Mario's safety ring. I get a bunch of jump attacks in, and it soon transitions into the most dangerous form, the magic form. This guy has a panoply of powerful and unblockable magic attacks, and he's best damaged by physical attacks, and many of his attacks take away more than half of my HP, meaning I have to heal and I can't attack. Eventually though, he does go for a Darkstar attack and I block it, and I'm at least able to get one hit in, and blissfully he next transitions into the invincible form, which means I'm able to get off a devastating ice bomb. However, this form also shreds away my boosts, meaning I have to reapply both a bracer and an energizer. And the biggest problem with this battle isn't that I'll get overwhelmed and die. Rather, it's that I'll run out of healing items. And 3 of 4 of the forms, the chest, the tank, and the invincible forms, all are basically wasted turns for Smithy. But my RNG luck turns to crap, and every time Smithy transforms, he just reverts from the magic form back to the magic form. He does tease me and switch back to the tank form for about 5 seconds, but then continues his shenanigans and transforms right back. But after that, his next Meteor Swarm misses, and he transforms one more time into the magic form. Help! He uses the Darkstar, which I full block, and then he attacks again, and then another Darkstar, which I block again. And then he finally transforms into the magic form again. Why is this happening to me? He then uses a third Darkstar in a row, wasting his turn, so I hit him with a lazy shell, and his luck has finally run out. So I beat Super Mario RPG with only Mario at level 15. And if you want to see my other Super Mario RPG runs, you should watch this playlist. You're gonna love it. Don't buy a boat, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Bye. Have you ever had a cat that needed this much love and didn't try to kill? Oh wait, she does try to kill me quite a bit, actually. She's the happiest little kitty.